So last night, Donald Trump was with Sean Hannity in town hall answering live questions. This is what excellence looks like when you are grounded in your policies and you know exactly what you're doing, being a real leader, showing leadership qualities. You can stand before an audience and answer question after question with no problems. You don't have to be like Kamala Harris, where it's you, Timmy Walsh, her babysitter, and one interviewer in a closet somewhere where you get asked softball questions and then they edit the video 56 times. Trump sat there and took question after question from the audience. This is what real leadership looks like. This is what excellence looks like. So let's get into the video.
Questions from the audience. I always plan out. I do all this research to ask you questions, and you just go. But we came here also to hear from the people of Harrisburg. Before we get to the people, I want to again introduce. We introduced them last night on the show. Dave McCormick is the Republican Senate candidate from Pennsylvania. Senator, great to have you. Give you a chance to say a couple of words.
Yes, thank you, Sean, and thank you for Mr. President for being here in the Keystone State. And the Keystone State is going to decide the future of the country and put you back in the White House and the majority in the Senate. So thank you. And Mr. President, it's a scary time in the world. Our adversaries around the world, Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, are testing us. They're challenging us. We've lost deterrence. They think America's weak. They think America's on retreat.
Right.
And my question to you is, on day one, when you're back in the White House, how do we restore deterrence? How do we bring strength and capability back to our military? And how do we make sure that everybody in the world knows that America is back?
So thank you, David, and good luck with the race. It's really important that you win. I hope you're going to great gentleman.
And we are the weakest that we've ever been. We are a laughing stock around the world. You know, if Trump was president right now, like he should be, after the election was stolen from him, we wouldn't have the Russian-Ukraine conflict. The attack in Israel would have never have happened. We wouldn't have 20 million illegals in the country, and the economy and the inflation would not be what it was. So we are a joke around the entire world right now.
A great warrior. The first thing we have to do, we have to strengthen our country from within. And we have a lot of bad people from within, but we have to straighten it. We have to, number one, have a border like we had it 4 years ago, which was strong, where the wrong people didn't get in. We have to have that. The other thing, we want to become, again, energy independent. We were energy
Drill, baby, drill!
energy dominance, and then, as you know, I rebuilt the entire military, and we had it like nobody has ever had it before. And then this guy gave away $85 billion worth of equipment to Afghanistan in the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. But we have.
All right, let's not get lost in just the material items. There was 12 or 13 soldiers that lost their lives because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's disgusting and weak leadership.
A lot more than that. We rebuilt the military. We want to be strong, but we want to do it peace through strength. That's what we want. Peace through strength. We shouldn't have to use our military.
That's right.
It's the greatest military in the world.
When Trump was president, he didn't have to flex. All he had to do was say, hey, listen, knock it off or you know what's going to happen. And people got in line. That's right. That's what happens when you deal with excellence. You know, no games will be played or you'll get put in your place. And Joe Biden, could you imagine right now, you know why Putin endorsed Kamala Harris? You know why he wants Kamala Harris to win? Because he will run roughshod over her and do whatever the hell he wants, just like he's been doing. He doesn't want to deal with Trump. He doesn't want to deal with a real leader that's going to make him accountable. And neither does China and North Korea.
What's your name?
My name is Deborah Williams.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm good now.
Because of me or because of the president?
The president.
No, I'm kidding.
I plead the fifth.
Good answer.
Mr. President, I want to thank you for coming and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Deborah.
What could you share that you've learned during the first time being in the Oval Office for those who are hesitant to vote for you now?
So
Good question.
we need a strong president. And, you know, I actually think we had a very stable administration, but we were hit with this weaponization. We were hit to weaponize. They've never done this before. The weaponization, all of the different Russia hoax, all of the different hoaxes, and we won every single one of them. The most important thing, and I found it, and you can say this is true in business also, we have to get the right people. When I first went there, 2016,
Now, I love Trump. I love what he does, and I love him in general. But sometimes he just misses the mark. You know, that question, he should have said, you know, sometimes I'm misunderstood because of the way that I talk. I really care about people, and sometimes it doesn't come across that way. And he really missed this question, and I really wish he would have seen this question and answered it a lot better. This was, yeah, it's a true response. It's not like he's making it up and he's lying. What he's saying is true, but I don't think that's what she was like. If I'm on the board, if I'm on the fence and I'm not sure whether to vote for you, most likely that's because women and you know, the independent voters, they don't know how to feel about Trump only because of one reason. That's because of the way he talks. So Trump missed this question.
I had a lot of good people, I had a lot of good advice, but I put people in that in some cases were not what I really wanted because I didn't know much about Washington. I was there 17 times in my whole life, and I wasn't in DC very much, but I got to know him, and I got to know him the hard way. And I know the good ones, the bad ones, the weak ones, the smart ones, the dumb ones. I know them all now. And the key, and we had great ones. I mean, economic development, we did so well. The military, we did fantastically well. We knocked out ISIS, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. We have some great people in the military, not the ones that you see on television, but great people. But a big key to running it is get the right people. You put the right person and the right group of people at the heads of these massive agencies, you're going to have tremendous success. And I know now the people, and I know them better than anybody would know them. So thank you, very, thank you, Deborah. What's your name?
Sue Helm.
Hey,
And I'd
Sue.
like to, well,
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think he missed the. I think he took a strike right there. You know, he needed to say, you know, I really care about people, and the way that the media takes some of my words and twist it. Maybe I should be more careful with the way I talk sometimes. The response was accurate, and it's not that he was lying or making it up, but that answer could have been in a totally different direction.
welcome to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
We love you both. So
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, I love the way he talks, so let me make that clear. I don't like any BS. I don't like any nonsense. I like straight to the point, and if it ruffles people's feathers, oh well. You know, as long as you're not being hateful or racist and you're just sticking to the truth and you want to talk a certain way, I have no issues with you. So I love the way Trump talks. But a lot of people in today's day and age, oh, you know, my feelings are hurt because he said it and he seemed aggressive when he said it. You know, like that. That's the type of nonsense that you're dealing with in 2024. Like Trump, for instance, if you, let's say you need to tuck your shirt in, right? And he knows you in a personal level, he'll probably say to you, hey, tuck your effing shirt in, right? You know, a lot of people wouldn't like that. They'd want you to say, excuse me, sir, can you please tuck your shirt in? You know, like, give me a break.
I'm a small business owner. I'm the owner of Century 21 at the Helm Real Estate.
Good.
The 4 years of your presidency, Mr. Trump, were the best economically I have experienced in the 35 years I own this business.
Hell yeah.
My question is, what are your plans and policies to restore the economy so small business owners can thrive and make America great once again?
Good.
Thank you.
You know, we had a woman who was very spectacular, Linda McMahon, and she ran the Small Business Administration, did a phenomenal job. And that's a very important group for what we're talking about with small business. But to put it a little simpler, we're going to have low interest rates. We're going to have low taxes. We're going to give you tremendous incentive to grow and to build your business. And, you know, a lot of people have said that. They said, one person who didn't support me, he said, I must admit, I had the most successful 4 years of my life, but I'm going to vote for some. And he said, and now that person came back to me.
I love the
I don't want
impersonation.
that person. I don't want that person. You know, they say you should take everybody, but that's not the way I'm built. It's one of those are the problems. This person.
Love me or
this
hate
was
me,
in the
you can't go
Republican
back.
Congress.
Once you hate me, you
I had
can't
the
love
best
me.
4 years I've ever had under Trump, but I'm going to support this one. I said that's the end of that. You know, when they came back. But we're going to lower interest rates. We're going to have low taxes. We're going to have tremendous incentives for small business. You know, small business is much bigger than big business in this country when you add it all up. And we're going to take care of small business. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, and what would Kamala and Joe? What's their plan? Tax increase, increase, regulation. Oh, you want to put a telephone in your business? Oh, there's a $495 tax on that. Oh, you want to have tax write-offs because you need parts for your business? Oh, we're getting rid of that. You know, we had to give all those write-offs to illegals and the churches that spread the Democratic narrative, right? Yeah, good luck with Kamala. Lowering people's taxes and making less restrictions to run businesses. If she wins, taxes are going to go through the roof for everybody, and small businesses are going to have more restrictions than they've ever had in the entire lifetimes of being in business or in the history of this country, for that notion.
Sir, what's your name?
Travis Finkenbinder. I'm from Palmyra, Pennsylvania. I'd like to welcome you both here, and it's an honor to stand before you.
Thank you, Trey.
Mr. President, is it possible to correct
Mr. President, it's an honor to stand in your excellence.
the extensive damage the current administration has caused related to our safety and security? From the border crisis to the plethora of weapons left behind in Afghanistan, I fear for my 3 adolescent sons. At night, what do I tell Kale, Kate, and Cole about their safety and their future of this great nation?
Well, the first thing you should do is pray.
Amen.
Because
Amen to that.
what these stupid people, naive people, but bad people, you know, weaponization. Again, they're after me. I got more court cases. On Friday, I have one. On Monday, I have one. And they do that for very bad reasons. They don't want you to campaign. They want to keep you off the campaign. They want to try and take as much money as possible instead of putting it in. But let me just tell you, the hardest problem we have is a smart president would be able to get along with Russia, China. There are a lot of reasons why. But the biggest problem we have is they've allowed 21 million people into our country. And I told you last night, I tell you tonight, it's the single biggest problem. They've poisoned our country. They're coming in from prisons. They're coming in from mental institutions. Terrorists are coming in. The criminals are coming off the streets in Caracas, Venezuela, but all over the world, not just in South America. It's the single hardest problem that we would have never had. If I were president, you wouldn't have that problem. You wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. You wouldn't have
That's right.
the Afghanistan.
People would know better.
Which I think is the single most embarrassing day in the history of our country, where they have billions of dollars of equipment. We lost 13 great soldiers, and I celebrated and honored their wonderful, they call them their children, and they are their children. They're wonderful children. They're kids. I went to Arlington Cemetery with them the other day, and at their request, and Sean knows this better than anybody, and it was very tough for me to get there. I will tell you, I don't want to say that, but it was very tough. I was in a different part of the world, frankly, and I got there, and we had a beautiful couple of hours together.
Where's Joe?
First, we had a ceremony, and then
Where's Joe Biden right now? Is he even the president anymore? I mean, he's somewhere hiding in the basement, ice cream all over his shirt, you know, telling Hunter, hey, make sure you do a couple more bribes before I leave office. We need the money. We're on our way out the door. Trump's in another part of the world, flies in, shows up to the ceremony, and does this thing. And Joe Biden, you know, he's in bed every day by 11 a.m. Kamala Harris doesn't even know what state she's in, can't even give a coherent speech, and has to have a 16-minute interview edited 73 times.
Then we had we went down to the grave sites, and they said, sir, could we have a picture with my son? In one case, it was a daughter. Could we have a picture with my daughter? We took pictures. We stayed for a long time, and then I left, and that was it. I thought it was beautiful. And those people are phenomenal. What they've done, Joe Biden and Kamala killed those children.
Yes, they did.
Just like they, just like
Joe Biden, Kamala Harris killed those soldiers and didn't even have the class, the integrity, the decency to call those families and say, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for their service. Right? But Kamala and Joe are all about the people and the little people. And, you know, they're all about love and unity and vibes. And 13 people die on your watch because of your stupid decision. And you can't even call the victims' families and say, thank you for your service. You can't honor those soldiers for giving their lives to the country. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are a disgrace.
they had a gun that killed them. And I went home and I thought it was a beautiful thing. I told my wife, I told a great first lady who people love, they love her. It was so sad and yet so beautiful and joyful in a sense. I mean, the people, they had something that was very special. And I went there and, you know, I had them up to Bedminster. I got to know many of them, most of them. But I get home and I get a call from one of my people, sir, they're saying that you use this for public relations purposes. And you know what happened? It was so beautiful. Every one of those people made a video to say that Donald Trump came there. I got enough publicity. I don't need publicity. I'd like to get half the publicity. I'd be very happy. But they said that, and you saw the videos. The videos became very, very well known and famous, actually. Some beautiful statements. And I went there. I got nothing out of that except to take care of people that were not taken care of by our government. And Joe Biden and Kamala should call those people and apologize, because that was the most incompetent withdrawal in the history of our country. There's never been anything. So think of it. We took the military out first. You're supposed to take the military out last. Once the military was gone, they had free shots at us. But we took the military out first. And
can you imagine that you're that incompetent that you take the military out first and let everybody fend for themselves in a country like that? You should be charged with murder. You should be charged with murder. So you let American soldiers and certain Americans just, hey, you know what? We're just taking the military out of here. We're all going to jump on the plane now. Fend for yourselves. It's called murder. So that's what it's called. And that's what happened.
And then it began. We lost 13 soldiers. Many were horribly wounded, meaning no legs, no arms. The face was obliterated. Many, we don't even talk about those people, and we have to. We left Americans behind, and you cover that better than anybody. We left many Americans behind. And
like I just said.
Billions and billions of dollars of brand new.
Strongest military in the world, right? That other countries tremble. And Joe Biden takes them out, lets Americans and a couple soldiers here and there, I'll fend for yourselves. Like, that's how incompetent that moron is. It's just a disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. You know what? You have the military out there. You load the stuff up on the plane. Everybody, you walk your troops back. Everybody gets on the plane, single file, and leaves safely in an orderly fashion and comes back to America. Everybody lives. But when you deal with incompetent morons like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, that's what you get, a free-for-all. Like you're at a mall where people are rioting. Clown show.
Military equipment behind that. Now they are one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
They're selling the equipment that we just walked away from.
Yeah.
It was so incompetent, but to be with those people was a real honor, I have to tell you. And for them to go out of their way, and every one of them made a video. They said, sir, could you take a picture next to the grave of my son? I said, of course. Could you imagine if I said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But every one of those people appreciated it, and every one of them made a tape, and they sent it out, and it became very viral, as they say nowadays. And it was a great honor for me to be there. Thank you.
Can you imagine that? The weapons that we left in Afghanistan, now Afghanistan is the biggest arms sellers in the entire world, selling the weapons that America left there. Like, what a joke. What an absolute joke. And like Trump said, it doesn't matter what he does, the mainstream media and the Democratic machine attack it. Could you imagine if he told the families, "Oh, I don't want to take those pictures because they're gonna say I'm only doing it for publicity." Oh, the world would have exploded. He takes the pictures and they make up some story that there was a fight and shoving and a soldier agreed to drop charges. I mean, there's nothing that comes out of the Democratic machine that's not a lie. It's absolutely disgusting.
Should add, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were both invited. And this was not, you knew these families. You had met with them at Bedminster.
Yes,
You were familiar with
I knew them.
And they invited you, you went, and they said, would you take a picture? And then you did, and then you were attacked and then the families were furious at Kamala about it. I think this is going to be the last question. What's your name, sir?
Hi, Alistair Hackett from Spring Lake, New Jersey.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I'm a recent college graduate and am concerned with the growing influence of wokeness in many of our top institutions. We saw General Milley take this to new heights under his leadership in the military. What is your plan to combat radical ideology in the military and in our corporations?
Well, first of all, Millie. That day in Congress where Milley proclaimed his wokeness was an embarrassment to our country.
Yep.
And remember this, we don't have a woke military. We have some guys at the top that talk it, but you couldn't convince them to be woke if you were screaming at them for 5 weeks. We took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. And I got to meet the real generals, and they are unbelievable. Our military is unbelievable. Remember, all we're going to do is you go out, you get your degree, you work hard, you're going to see a different country. We have to get elected. If we don't get elected, I don't know what's going to happen to our country. I just don't know.
Kiss it goodbye.
It's so bad. And normally I wouldn't say that. I'd say, well, they're working, they're a Democrat. These aren't Democrats. These are people long beyond Democrats. When I used to say to Sean on his show, I'd say, our country, Sean, will never be a socialist country. And it won't. It'll be a communist country. They skipped socialism. We cannot let this happen to our country. Because if it does happen, we'll never be able to come back. We'll never be able to make a comeback from it. So we're going to have a big election. This is Pennsylvania, a very important, the Commonwealth. You never want to call it a state, the Commonwealth. If you ever call it a state, I've seen their political career ruined by saying the state of Pennsylvania. No, you never want to call it a state. Now, I'll tell you how dishonest they are. They'll take that one little statement where I said the state of Pennsylvania, and they'll play it. The state of Pennsylvania. They'll cut it.
Well, there's one other thing.
Let me just, because they're fake. And one thing we should say, not him and not Fox, and we have a couple of others out there that are good, but the biggest, a great enemy to this country is the fake news media. It's a big enemy. They have to change their way.
Before we let the president go, because this is airing part 2 on Thursday night, I want to ask you one final question. In 5 nights, you'll be on the stage, not with me, but with Kamala Harris. Now, if I'm going to make a prediction, I think she's going to try and annoy, agitate, irritate, frustrate, and piss you off, to use a phrase. Are you aware of how she debates and probably every name in the book she can call you, and without giving away your tactic?
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but when I had
He's not worried.
I had the same discussion,
No.
and I let him talk. I'm going to let her talk because you've all seen it.
I mean, you don't want her to have her big moment where she goes, I'm talking. That's Kamala's big moment in politics. I'm speaking. Like, she just repeats it over and over and over again. I mean, she needs to go to a mental institution.
There are those that say that Biden is smarter than she is, okay? And if that's the case, we have a problem. But debating's an interesting thing. I've been in many debates. I think I probably won because of debating. Maybe we had a lot of debates with the Republicans. Then we had Crooked Hillary. We had a lot of different people we had to debate, and we had some great debates. You do remember the Rosie O'Donnell debate? Remember Rosie O'Donnell? She's a real great one. Isn't she a great one? Anyway, but debate is interesting. You can go in with all the strategy you want, but you have to sort of feel it out as the debate's taking place. I've seen it. You go in there and you have a strategy. Mike Tyson made the statement, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. It's true. It was a brilliant statement. It's a brilliant statement. So I could tell Sean exactly what I'm going to do, but things change. It depends a lot on ABC. Will they be fair or not? If they're not going to be fair, I'm going to be a little bit different than if they are. I hope they're going to be fair. We're putting a lot of reliance on a network which is known for
Fake news.
Extremely hostile to the people in this room and to, I think, 75-80% of the country, if you want to really know the truth.
It's like no interviews are ever done at Fox News. No debates are ever done at Fox News. The whole playground always has to be, it's just like typical. They're the bullies. They're the liars. They're corrupt. And like they have to have everything set up for their corruption, for their lies, for their bullying. Like Trump, he'll go into enemy territory. He'll go anywhere for a debate. He'll agree to any rules. It doesn't matter. He just says, yeah, I'll do it, no problem. That's what real leadership looks like. Kamala Harris, her big moment. I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm speaking.
But Sean, all I can say is this, I've seen Mitt Romney go and lock himself into a log cabin for 4 or 5 weeks, and then he came out and he was horrible in the debate. He couldn't talk. He gained great knowledge. He couldn't talk. And Candy Crowley came out and she made a terrible statement that turned out to be wrong, but it destroyed the guy. But look, you have to, the way I look at debating, I think I've been really practicing all my life for this stuff. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's sort of about. So it'll be an interesting evening.
Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, they couldn't run a hot dog stand. And, Trump is building cities, buildings, and, the streets. Those three literally couldn't run a hot dog stand.
The Biden debate was a very interesting evening. I was sort of surprised by it a little bit, by, what he did and the way he reacted. And you don't know how somebody's going to react. Even a professional, you don't know how they're going to react. And you have to sort of go with it as you get up there, Sean. I'd love to give you an answer. This is what I'm going to do, Sean. But when you get up there, you sort of, because I've done a lot of it. I went from never having debated to having done a lot of debates.
But if she's going to try and annoy you, but that's.
Well, I think we have a bigger problem. I think that ABC will try and annoy you.
Yep.
That too.
Okay.
President Donald Trump.
Yeah, right? Isn't Democrats, they're all about anti-bullying? Trump will get there. You'll have the two narrators that are poking him and pecking him and cutting off his mic. And then you'll have Kamala. So they'll all gang up on Trump and then leave the meeting or the debate and say that Trump was the bully. So Donald Trump, once again, he shows why he's a real leader, why he will be, and that he deserves to be the president in 2024. His excellence never disappoints. And remember, get out there and vote for Trump. Trump is the only answer if you want to save America.